I was told there was no room for me at this year's family retreat, yet 118 people were invited, including in-laws, distant cousins, and friends I barely recognize. I didn't say a word. I just waited, and what happened next had my mom screaming in front of everyone. "Hey Reddit. I'm Danielle Hart. I'm 31F. And this year I found out exactly where I stand in my own family. Spoiler alert. It's somewhere between unwanted guest and complete afterthought. And yet somehow they still managed to act shocked when I didn't just sit back and take it. My family has always been big on appearances. Every year like clockwork, my parents host a lavish summer retreat at our old lake house, a weekend of matching shirts, coordinated group activities, and photo dumps on social media designed to make it look like we're one big happy clan. Behind the smiles and themed charcuterie boards, though, is a web of favoritism so thick you could suffocate in it. I'm one of 7 siblings, 5 girls, 2 boys. Growing up, I was never the golden child. That was Olivia, or maybe Aaron, depending on who had the newest baby or the highest salary that year. Me. I was the one who didn't ask for much. I didn't get into trouble. I did well in school, and I moved out young. I've always been quiet, independent, maybe too much so. Apparently that translates into easy to forget. Last year I started to notice the shift. I was given the air mattress in the laundry room while Olivia and her husband got the master suite. At meals there were often just enough place settings for everyone except me. I laughed it off, tried not to be dramatic, but this year was a different beast entirely. It started 2 weeks before the retreat. I texted in the family group chat to confirm the dates, just like I always do. No response. 3 days went by. Then my mom finally replied, "Hey sweetie. We actually won't have enough space this year. It's a full house already. Maybe next time." I blinked at the message, confused. The lake house has 6 bedrooms, a pull-out couch, and they've rented extra cabins before when needed. So I asked who all was going. My mom said something vague about the usual crowd, then stopped responding. I let it go, or tried to, but my gut said something was off, so I waited. The weekend rolled around, and by noon Friday the social media posts began. A group selfie from Olivia. Lake house weekend vibes with the best crew. I counted the faces. 14, then Aaron's post. Great to have everyone under one roof. I counted again. 32, then came a group bonfire pic from my cousin Rachel, and I stopped counting altogether. By Saturday morning I realized I wasn't just left out. I'd been intentionally excluded, not just by my parents but by every sibling, cousin, and in-law who showed up, people I grew up with, people I celebrated birthdays and graduations with, people who had no problem posting group shots with fake captions like "wouldn't be a party without all of us." They invited 118 people and somehow couldn't make space for me. I didn't reply to a single post. Didn't comment or like. I just sat in my apartment, blinds closed, phone on silent, letting the silence do. I didn't cry, not then. I just went very still. And something inside me, something cold, focused, and strangely calm, clicked into place. My parents had always counted on me being the quiet one, the easy one, the one who didn't stir drama. But the thing about people like me, when we finally decide to act, we do it thoroughly. And so 9 hours later I did. I drove out to the lake house. I didn't announce it. I didn't text anyone. I just packed my car with everything I needed, fueled up, and headed out. It took me nearly 4 hours to get there. I parked my car 2 roads down so no one would notice. And then I walked unnoticed through the woods behind the house, just like we used to as kids, sneaking in late after curfew. By the time I arrived the sun was dipping low, casting golden light across the backyard. I saw them through the trees, the laughter, the drinks, the glow of string lights and bonfire smoke. Tables full of catered food, kids running around with glow sticks, adults dancing to a playlist I helped build years ago. And I walked right past them, not to join but to do what needed to be done. I won't go into full detail yet. Let's just say there are ways to disrupt a retreat without ever yelling, hitting, or making a scene. There are ways to take everything they carefully curated, the schedule, the aesthetics, the image, and bend it until it cracks. It didn't even take much. A few exposed group texts printed out and pinned to trees. A couple of strategically timed Wi-Fi resets that killed the music and streaming. A very familiar family slideshow replaced with one I had customized with receipts, screenshots, forgotten family secrets, and finally the grand finale, a fire alarm pulled right as they were preparing their sunset toast. That's when my mother screamed, a long, high rattling sound that cut through the air like broken glass. She stood at the center of the chaos, wine glass smashed, surrounded by relatives either glaring or awkwardly backing away. My father looked like he wanted to disappear. Olivia. She was crying. Aaron. Silent. Everyone else. Confused. Whispering. Looking around for someone to blame. And me. I stood in the woods behind them, completely out of sight, and smiled. The thing about pulling the rug out from under a room full of narcissists, backstabbers, and cowards pretending to be a family is they don't fall gracefully. They flail. They scramble. And then they turn on each other. By the time I got back to my car, I could already hear the chaos echoing from the lake house like distant thunder, screaming, slamming doors, confused children being ushered back into cabins by wide-eyed cousins. I hadn't even touched them. I didn't shout, didn't make an entrance, didn't get into anyone's face. All I did was hold up a mirror and they tore themselves apart trying not to look. I didn't go back home, not right away. I drove to a quiet motel 15 minutes out, checked in under my middle name, and watched the damage unfold online from a clean white bed with blackout curtains. It was like watching a house of cards collapse in slow motion. Olivia posted a vague story about family betrayal. Aaron reposted it, then deleted it an hour later. My cousin Megan posted a meme about being loyal to truth even if it's uncomfortable. My mom, radio silence. For the time in years her Facebook was dead silent. No sunset group pic. No matching pajama shots. Just nothing. By Monday I had voicemails. 32 of them. Rachel wanted to know if I was okay. Megan said she didn't know what the slideshow was but that everyone was freaked out. Olivia left 2 tearful messages. One begging me to talk, the other accusing me of ruining the only weekend we all get together. Aaron never called. My dad left one short message. You need to call your mother. No anger. Just tired. Maybe scared. But the most shocking one, my mom. She didn't yell. She didn't scream. She just said in a slow, hollow voice, I don't know who you are anymore. That part made me laugh, not because it was funny but because it was rich. She didn't know who I was. After years of pretending I wasn't even in the room, she finally realized she didn't know me, not the real me, not the one she taught to stay quiet, to be polite, to let the others shine. That version of me died the moment she told me there wasn't enough space for her own daughter while making room for 118 others. I took 2 weeks to respond. I didn't reply to a single message or return any call. I went back to work. I read. I journaled. I breathed. Then on a Wednesday night I drove out to their house. When my mother opened the door, her eyes were puffy. Makeup smudged around the edges. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. My father sat in the living room behind her holding a glass of something stronger than wine. You actually came, she said quietly. I didn't say anything. We sat at the dining table, the same one they used for every holiday, every birthday. I stared at the empty spot where my name never got written on place cards, where my chair was always the one dragged from the garage last minute. My mom tried to speak but I raised my hand. You don't get to talk, I said. Her lips pressed into a line. She nodded. So I told them everything. How I noticed the little exclusions year after year. How I was always the one expected to make room, to give up, to adjust. How they had slowly, methodically made me feel like a visitor in my own family. And then this year, how they finally just removed me altogether. My mom tried to interrupt. It wasn't like that. I kept going. I told them about the group chat where Olivia and Aaron joked about how I was too quiet to be fun at parties. The messages about how I probably wouldn't come anyway, how it would be less awkward without me. I read them out loud. Every line. My father looked at his hands. My mother stared straight ahead. I told them about how it felt watching people I loved and grew up with, people I've held during breakups, helped move apartments, sent baby gifts to, all laugh and smile while pretending I didn't exist. I told them how none of them defended me, not one. Then I looked at my mother and said, you didn't forget me. You just didn't want me there. Her eyes filled with tears. She opened her mouth but I held up a hand again. And before you ask, yes, that slideshow was me. The messages, the photos, the receipts. I didn't lie. I didn't hack. I didn't invent anything. I just stopped protecting people who wouldn't even save me a chair. There was a long, uncomfortable silence. My mom finally whispered, you embarrassed us in front of the entire family. I stood up. No, I said, you embarrassed yourselves. I just hit play. I walked out and I didn't look back. Since then things have shifted. I've received a few apologies. Real ones, not performative. Megan messaged me privately and admitted she'd seen the way I was treated but never spoke up. My cousin Jason called and said he was ashamed. My sister Amanda, one of the quieter ones, told me she admired what I did, that she wished she'd had the nerve to do something years ago. But the biggest shift, my silence. I've stepped away from the family chat, from holiday plans, from trying to force myself into spaces where I'm not welcome. I no longer chase invitations. I no longer beg to be seen. I no longer shrink myself so others can shine brighter. And while my mother may not understand who I am now, I finally do. And for the time in my life I didn't feel left out. I felt free. Free from begging for a seat at a table I was never truly welcome at. Free from twisting myself into someone quieter, easier, more acceptable. I walked away not with bitterness but with clarity, knowing that the silence they gave me all these years was never peace. Now I finally have it on my own terms.